So China is in focus big time, and on several fronts, including the sort of Cold War heating up, and now focused in the technology area. As you might know by now, President Biden issued an executive order, and he's targeting certain investments, chips, quantum, AI technologies. He wants to make sure that our Americans aren't investing in this, aren't helping China out with this. Interesting enough, they also say the White House aiming to ease tensions with Beijing at the same time. Now, here's the thing. China, right, probably, we know this is going to be very narrow scope, but China, in the meantime, has been just building up their supplies, right? So they've got $5 billion just of NVIDIA chips alone. Remember, even though China slammed President Biden for what they call a blatant economic bullying, they know also that they could go a year. This thing doesn't go into effect for a year. It's not going to be retroactive. And so they're loading up on all these NVIDIA chips and some other things. So what it means, I'm not quite sure, but a lot of folks are saying who didn't think this was a smart idea because they think it's only going to exacerbate the need for China to do this themselves. As you can see, look at this right here. This is your 300 and 200 millimeter chips, global plants under construction, mainland China now taking the lead above Taiwan and the United States. I'm going to bring in now market strategist Jessica Amir. Jessica, so, this move from the Biden administration, is it too little, too late? They made it narrow, but is it too narrow to be impactful?
I don't know about that. What's really interesting is this has kind of been simmering underneath the surface for some time now. But in terms of the impact, I guess, if you think about if you are investing, there's going to be a real impact in those chip makers. So NVIDIA, Intel, AMD, these companies are making a fair chunk of their revenue from China. So we still haven't heard the full extent of it. So we're not down and out for the count. Right. We are, remember, by close of this month, we're expecting to see further announcements as for what could happen with chip makers. So that's a huge part of this, I guess, aspect to watch. And it'll be pretty volatile for investors if you are in this space. Is it too little, too late? Well, I don't know. I guess the decoupling or the demarriage of the US and the Chinese economy has been on the cards for some time. It's all about deglobalization. So I guess that that's really taking front page now. And a lot of folks are wondering, too, like the military implications of that, which, to your point, we may never know. But you brought up the Chinese economy. I want to kind of segue into that and remind people this. So what we've seen is China export price index has absolutely plunged. It is annihilated. But it's not just that, folks. This is consumer prices and producer prices. Again, they are plunging now. Everyone's sort of saying these free falls, point to deflation. What happened, Jessica, to the reboot of that economy after they got rid of that zero COVID policy? It never really took off. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So I guess all the post-pandemic spending rush is pretty much down and out. It's pretty much dead. And it's been a huge issue for the Chinese economy. But also, you think about Apple, you think about Tesla, all of these names that have got a fair chunk of their revenue skewed to the Chinese consumer. You're talking Apple, they're making 19% of their revenue from China. Tesla, heck, they're making about 25%. So China really needs to step up. They need to come to the plate and or come to the party and introduce some mega stimulus. Will it be like we saw post the GFC? I don't know. All right. Hey, I got a minute to go, and I want to pick up on that. So China slips in deflation, right? And this headline from the Journal says it's a warning sign for the world economy. Some folks are saying it might not be a bad deal if China were to export deflation to the United States. You saw our CPI numbers this morning. What's your assessment of where we are here in the U.S.? Where are we? So we're probably going to be in a stagflation environment. So that's what investors really need to start focusing on. So what are those sectors that are probably going to do well in stagflation? You need to think about energy. So we saw actually year-on-year CPI pick up for the first time in a year. So that's real. So energy prices, they're going to go up with El Nino. No surprise there. So you want to be looking at energy stocks. You also want to think about ag. So 70% of the crops could be impacted by El Nino this year. So that's huge, and that really can't be ignored. Great stuff. All right. We'll be focused on those for sure. Jessica, thank you very much. Thank you so much.